Thank you for joining us for this episode of our Continuing Change podcast. Today we have a wonderful guest who runs marketing and communications at an organization that I personally know and love. John, tell us a little bit about yourself and paint a picture of the organization that you work with.
Yeah. So my name is John Vanderhagen. I am fortunate enough to be the Director of Communications here at Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park. Truly is a dream job. I pinch myself coming into work every day, surrounded by the beautiful art and gardens and just all the programming that we have here. But basically, it's my job to oversee all of the communications and marketing for the organization as a whole. So we've got a staff, when we're fully staffed, of 6 people in the communications department. A couple graphic designers, a social media specialist, and then a project coordinator who kind of keeps us all on track, crosses our T's, dots our I's. She's a copywriter as well. So a nice little team, but we're putting out about anywhere between 600 and 700 projects a year for all the different departments here at the garden. So everything from sales materials for our hospitality team to digital advertising to exhibition guides for all the different sculpture exhibitions and annual exhibitions that we have. So I like to boil it down to anything with pictures and words comes through our department. But yeah, overall, really just seeing everything from online content to advertising and getting the word out about all the special events that we have here.
Yeah.
The organization, for those who might not know what Meyer Gardens is all about, it's our mission to promote the understanding and enjoyment of gardens, sculpture, the natural environment, and the arts. So really, we began as a love story. Fred Meyer loved sculpture. Lena Meyer loved horticulture. They were approached back in the early 90s by the West Michigan Horticultural Society, a woman named Betsy Bory. They were looking for basically just a donation to start their horticultural garden. But the stars aligned, and Fred had a growing sculpture collection that he didn't want to just keep in a warehouse or keep for his friends to enjoy. So through some conversations, Fred had some land that the city had decided not to approve for a Meyer store to go up on. So like I said, a lot of stars aligned, and we became the cultural organization that we are today. So
Mhm.
that's us in a snapshot.
Yeah, and I really want our audience to envision a vast expanse of space and property. This is a place where you can spend hours upon hours, wandering around, seeing so many different beautiful sights. And speaking of pictures and words, right behind you, we've got so many pictures. I don't know if I see any words back there, but it gives us a sense of kind of how creative of an environment you're living within. So, in such a highly visual space as a nonprofit, what in the world happened when COVID hit? You have all of these guests that are used to coming in for butterfly exhibits, holiday exhibits, concerts, etc. How does that work now?
Yeah, it really was a worst case scenario. We're in the same position as everybody else is in right now, that nobody could have planned for this. And it really hit us hard. I mean, we have on a typical year between 700 and 750,000 visitors. So we're the #2 tourist destination in Michigan behind the Henry Ford over on the east side. And it really devastated us. Everything from our general attendance to membership to all of our weddings and events, business rentals, that just was completely shut down on March 13th. So we got the
Wow.
unfortunate news. We were tracking it, late February, early March. We were seeing kind of all the concerns bubbling up, but really had no idea the extent of this, and we were just as blindsided as everybody else. So we took the precautions. We closed our doors on March 13th, and immediately, that was a Friday. I'll always remember that, Friday the 13th, rang true this year. But immediately, once we got word that we were going to be closing to the public, we didn't know if that was going to be for a week, for deep
Right.
cleaning, or whether that was going to be, for 86 days like it ended up being. But we immediately met as a communications group to kind of discuss, okay, what is our new reality? How can we continue to get the word out? Can we continue to advance our mission? How can we continue to have daily touch points with our members, our non-members, everybody who's a stakeholder in what we do? So, we're really lucky to be in 2020 and have the tools that we have available to us now. So the logistics of the shift wasn't necessarily a problem for us. We've got a great social media audience. We've got, like we were talking about a little bit off camera, we've got a great growing YouTube channel.
Yeah,
We had some evergreen content that was already developed. And then we immediately started to look at a content calendar for what's next week going to look like. What is March going to look like? So we were in the middle of our butterfly exhibition, which is our most popular exhibition. We get about 200,000 visitors through every March and April to see the thousands of butterflies that we have.
It gives us all a chance to pretend like we're not in the middle of winter here. If
right.
Yeah.
Right, and that's one of the beautiful things about that exhibition is we bring folks through the Lena Meyer Tropical Conservatory, which we keep at balmy 85 degrees and a high humidity rate. So that is just a great escape in the winter. And unfortunately, that physical experience went away. But we were able to do some live streams of that. We set up a 24/7 YouTube stream of our butterflies. So obviously, it didn't replace that experience one-to-one. But we also didn't want to completely shut down and go dark. So we knew we had to do things daily to reach our audience. But again, being a nonprofit, we are a well-supported nonprofit. So we do have it different than a lot of other museums in the region, but we are still a nonprofit. The reality of our budgets are minimal. So we had to take the tools that we had available to us, which is literally a cell phone, an internet connection, and then our creativity. So we developed immediately kind of a content calendar that was an immediate fix for that first week, and then also looked towards some other organizations for what their best practices were. So we came up right away with the idea to do virtual visits. Yeah. So wanting to stay in the kind of conversation of people, definitely our members, provide value to them. And then just for folks who are used to visiting, whether that's once a year, once a week, we wanted to provide them with some opportunities as well. So
I love it.
Kind of what we did short term was wanted to reach out to families to have kind of a break because a lot of parents became teachers overnight. I don't know if you were in that position or any of your coworkers, but
a lot of our coworkers were, and I can imagine that they were very grateful for an entertainment outlet, especially one that was focused on the arts and on creativity.
Yeah. Yep. So right away, we wanted to have our 10 a.m. Kind of story time, which is a popular on-site activity during those months. That was easy to replicate. So we literally took our cell phone and went to Facebook Live and had staff members read some mission-related books that we had in our library. So we made 10 a.m. was our story time. And then we decided to go with 2 p.m. for other mission-related content that was for a broader age range. So that morning,
so funny. You did that right over Facebook Live. What was the attendance like?
Yeah, so we were seeing, we had a couple hundred people follow that right away. And then the beauty, again, of these tools is that it doesn't just kind of disappear into the ether, right? So all of that was archived. We could then push that out. It was a little bit more evergreen, so that it had a longer life than just, if you missed it at 10 a.m., it's done. So yeah, we were seeing hundreds of people follow those and tune into those once we got that rolling. But really what was most surprising to me is how many people tuned in to just hours and hours of butterfly footage. We had a single GoPro set up, and it had the audio, so it had some nice tropical birds in the background. It had the sound of our waterfalls, and it had the beauty of our butterflies. But I never expected thousands and thousands of people to tune in to literally a static camera of our butterflies, but was so grateful that they did. And then that became our daily kind of content that was happening around the clock. So we would have that always up. And then, like I said, the kind of morning, the 10 a.m. was angled towards families with younger children to kind of give parents a break in their day, provide some nice mission-related content. We've got a great staff. So our horticulture staff, sculpture staff, some of our facility attendants, everybody pitched in, read the book. And that was fun, too, to be able to kind of show some folks doing some things outside of their normal job duties. So
one of the things I loved about your videos, I noticed that you also took the opportunity to kind of highlight some of your volunteers and your extended team members that might not always get to be in front of a camera. How
Yeah.
is that received?
Yeah. So I think the audience really liked that because, like you just said, it's a peek into something that people might not normally see on a visit. Not everybody gets a chance to talk to the volunteer that has worked here for years, or to somebody who's outside planting or taking care of our living collection. So it was a really great way to kind of show some more of our personalities. We've got some great staff who really took that and ran with it. They wanted to be a part of that more than just once or twice, but it was a great way for our guests, members, visitors to see a little bit more personality behind who the folks are who keep this place running. So again, just a really neat opportunity and really easy for us to do. I mean, it was one camera showing a story, and then it was pushed live, and then it was archived there for future viewing. So really simple to do, and a kind of a fun, not totally unique idea, but it worked.
And when you say simple to do, I think sometimes we can get afraid of making content because we get stuck on the idea that it needs to be perfect. This
Yeah.
is content. How long, for example, for the tram tour you did that I love so much, how long did some of this content take to produce?
Yeah. So some of it, we do want to be perfect all the time, but perfect is the enemy of great a lot of times. And we knew that it was more important for us to have regular, fresh content than to have slickly produced, full length, color corrected everything, perfect audio, all of that. There's definitely a time and a place for that. But what's more important to us, especially in the short term when this first bubbled up, was that we need to be constantly talking to our audience with new, engaging, mission-related content. So for things like the tram tour, that took a little bit more of a lead time just in how can we do this safely? Because basically on the 13th, that following week, we sent everybody home. A lot of our volunteers are in that older, at-risk age category. So we definitely wanted to take care of okay, what are the emerging protocols? Is it safe to do this? Can we do this while maintaining a proper physical distance? But really, I mean, we already have a tram tour in place. We already have the script. So it's just a matter of finding a willing driver, a willing volunteer to narrate that, and then using our on-staff videographer to film that and edit that. But from idea to completion and posting, that was probably a 3-day project. So
Wow.
again, I think the beauty in all of this is what we were able to take what some of the programs that we're already doing, and then the only shift became let's throw a camera on it, let's film it, and then push it out via a different channel.
Yeah, and I love how creative you guys got when it comes to some of the video content. So you're transitioning the guest experience to an online one. Talk about the numbers when it comes to guest renewal. Did you see any impact on your membership renewals?
Yeah. So membership renewals were definitely down. I mean, typically we have about 28,000 member households. On average, each household has 3 members. So do the math. I'm not great at math, but those are pretty big numbers.
Yeah.
We fully anticipated a hit in renewals just based on, we're seeing record levels of unemployment, and we completely understand that we are not a necessity. Well, art and music and gardening can definitely impact your life in a positive way. We know that it's kind of it's a luxury at this point for a lot of people. So fully understanding that, we knew that our numbers were going to drop, especially this couldn't have happened at a worse time for us. Like I said, we were right in the middle of our most popular exhibition with butterflies. The next most popular thing for our members is our summer concert series. That lineup was supposed to be released on April 27th. That didn't happen. The series ended up being canceled this year. So as far as timing, it couldn't have come at a worse time.
And for our listeners who don't know, that concert series is so popular that people will literally sit in front of their computer waiting to click
for
because
hours.
they're such great artists.
Yeah. And we sell out, we have a 30-show series. We sell out often half of those shows within the first 3 or 4 hours of the on-sale date. So it is definitely popular. We've got a small venue and a huge membership base, so we're really lucky to have that series every year.
And great artists too.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So we've got national artists, and then we also do a Tuesday evening series with local and regional artists. So that goes back to the part of our mission that talks about promoting the enjoyment and understanding of the arts. So we're not just flowers, we're not just sculpture, but the arts overall.
Mm-hmm.
But I think getting back to the point was members definitely appreciated what we were doing. We also did a few member exclusive opportunities. So we filmed with our curator of sculpture, for example, a walkthrough of our George Siegel exhibition, which was just starting to arrive and be uncrated. So we did some behind the scenes things with him that were just exclusive to members. We're planning on some upcoming lectures being exclusive for members. So still wanting to provide them with a little bit of opportunity to enjoy some content that's not available for everybody. But we definitely did see our membership numbers take a hit, which is understandable at this time. But I think just staying in regular contact with them was helpful. We could have dropped off a lot more than we did.
Right, you stayed in front of them, and more importantly than just communicating to them, you continue to try to provide an experience for them, even if it wasn't the experience that they were used to having. But nonetheless, in a time where the public needs what you're doing, needs the arts perhaps more than ever before,
Sure.
you saw some of your revenue fall off. Your fundraiser that you yearly have is also, if I'm correct, in person. Talk to us about that. What did you do to make sure that succeeded this year?
Yeah, that's a great point too. So every May we host what's called the Great Gardens Party, and that's our biggest fundraiser of the year. So that is an in-person plated dinner, cocktail hour, auction opportunities, bidding opportunities. So it's kind of a fun night where donors can get together as a group, see what we have to offer, bid on some fun packages, have a dinner, and really get together to enjoy what Meyer Gardens is all about, and then work towards funding for the next year. So that, I believe, was scheduled for May 3rd or 4th. And again, we had kind of planned originally, hey, it's March, we might be able to have that. That's a long time away. But as that got nearer, the numbers kept growing. We knew that wasn't going to be a possibility. So what we ended up doing for that was we shifted to kind of a pre-produced packaged program. Unfortunately, there's no way to replicate a dinner. There's no way to replicate really a cocktail hour. And what we had seen with a lot of other kind of national events was, okay, let's do a Zoom. Everybody gets together. We ask for money, and then that's it. And that wasn't really intriguing to us. So we are in our 25th year right now. So for some other projects, we were going through some archival footage and really looking at a lot of photos, videos from the last 25 years. So we were able to wrap that all into what came together for really an interesting, I thought, little 40-minute package, which we called From Seeds to Silver, celebrating kind of our initial growth to our 25th silver anniversary. So we incorporated a lot of historic footage with Fred and Lena Meyer, talking about groundbreaking, talking about the early years, showing footage of our growth throughout the years. And then also weaved in our president was able to give an update of where we are now. And we also still did the traditional, you've got the bidding opportunities. You can bid on this package, you can bid on that. We did some fun. We asked several of our board members and general membership and volunteers to send us a video of them cheersing Meyer Gardens. So we wrapped that in,
Fun.
kind of a toast towards the end.
Yeah.
And then, we pushed this out as if it were live. We premiered it on Facebook and YouTube at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday night. So we definitely wanted it to be as if it were a live experience. But I think the lesson that we learned in all of this is that there's just kind of a burnout right now of people staring at their screens all day for work, kids staring at screens for school. Everybody's trying to replicate what we're doing online. And I think there are
Yeah,
some fun opportunities. I think series like this, it's a great way to still get the
yeah,
word out. But I think, heaven forbid we have to do this again next year. I completely hope that we're in a different place. But
me
um,
too.
for I think the biggest lesson that we learned is there's no reason to have it be focused on a singular event. I think we would maybe in the future look towards maybe a week-long celebration or a week-long opportunity to give. We did a text to give and a call to give opportunity, but it was only from 7:30 to 8:30 that night.
Mhm.
Whereas if we made it, okay, this is our week of giving or our week-long
Right.
fundraiser, I think, small things like that.
You really treated it like it were an actual in-person event
We
instead of
did.
just kind of, it's the whole week.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but we made it engaging enough where there was really no reason for people to only tune in at once as if it were like a TV program,
Hmm.
where, where you could watch it anytime throughout the week. So I think the biggest lesson would be don't try to focus it on being live because so many
Yeah.
things can go wrong with a live event.
So many things go wrong.
Yeah, and B, why focus on just that hour of giving? You might as well make it a week-long event or a month-long event. Provide folks because not everybody's going to be able to tune in. Then,
Yeah.
obviously, people have busy lives, want to get away from their screens. So that would be the biggest takeaway from that. Don't do it live. There's no reason to have anything go wrong, and B, look at extending the time frame of an event like that.
Hmm. Hmm. Those are great tips. Those are great tips as we continue across the board as nonprofits to figure out what this will look like for the next couple of months and possibly even beyond that. Now, I
Yeah.
saw that you were reopening. Your doors are, I believe, open again.
Yes.
I'd be so curious to hear what did you do from a marketing and communications standpoint that others might want to replicate?
Yeah, yeah. So for organizations like ours, I think my biggest advice would be don't rush into anything. We didn't go out with a full-fledged huge campaign because honestly, we didn't want the numbers. We're limited in capacity right now. We're very fortunate to have 158 acres of outdoor spaces, so we'll
Mhm.
never hit capacity outside. But our worst nightmare was that we open and then we have lines similar to butterflies or Christmas, right? Where they're out the door because it's impossible to maintain physical distancing there. It's impossible to just have everybody do things right. So we went with the soft launch approach. We as soon as we so the other thing with this whole COVID situation, as I'm sure you're aware and everybody watching this is aware, it changes by the minute. There's no direction from the federal level that matches at the state level. And as soon as you make plans, as soon as you print a sign, the rules and regulations will change. So we didn't really. So we opened on June 8th was our first day that we reopened. Again, after
Wow.
being closed for 83 days, I think we found out that was a Monday. I think we found out the middle of the week prior that we were going to have the opportunity to reopen. This was after
Woo.
two false starts already. So later in May, we had anticipated getting the go ahead from the governor. And then a couple weeks following that. So we were fully prepped. We were fully signed. We had all of our floor physical distancing markers in place. We had all of our kind of new updated regulations in place. We had our plexiglass in place, hand sanitizer. So we were ready. But again, we wanted to kind of have a soft launch so that members could come in and enjoy things, give us feedback, and then kind of ease into to our bigger crowds. So
And
we've
how
been
did you
really.
control that soft launch piece specifically? How did you make sure that you didn't get too many too soon?
Yeah, so that was a little bit of a good luck for us,
Mhm.
but it was really controlling where the messaging got out, right? So we did a press release, but we didn't do any external advertising. We definitely let our members know via e-blast. We let our social media followers know, but we didn't go wide with any billboard campaign. We had stopped all of our advertising while we were closed in March, April, and May. So that probably helped with that. And it's weird as a marketer to say, stopping advertising and not getting mass crowds is a good thing.
Yeah. It feels against my nature, John.
Absolutely, mine too. I'm with you there. So I hope this is the only time I ever say that. But we've been really fortunate that we've had manageable crowds. But on nice days, our crowds have been similar to where we were last year. So we're seeing the community embrace us again. We're in the middle of a heat wave right now, which is keeping some people away.
Yeah.
But we're very much encouraged by the fact that on a normal day we can compare it to last year's calendar year and see very similar attendance.
Wow. I think that speaks to the fact that people are so hungry right now for those experiences. It's been a
Absolutely.
long time since we've gotten to have them. I know as we speak, I'm already in my head planning my trip out.
Great. Yeah, we'd love to have you back.
Hopefully into the AC before I go into the heat, probably.
Right. Yeah. So the main message though that we wanted to convey was that we're safe too, right? We
Yeah.
didn't want to rush into anything and just open because we needed the revenue again. Obviously, as a nonprofit, that is a concern, but the top concern was our guest safety. So putting into place and then promoting the fact that we have enhanced entry procedures. Things are going to look a little different than your last visit. Please be patient with us, but know that we've got hand sanitizer available. We are adjusting our entrance and exit procedures to maintain that physical distancing. We've put up plexiglass barriers. We're requiring masks in indoor spaces. So we're doing all the things that we can do to keep people safe, and really wanted that to be the main focus of our messaging. Not that we're open, come back, and everything's as normal, because it's not, and it's not going to be for a little while. And we created a little video. We created a separate kind of micro site on our website. That's meyergardens.org/COVID that explains kind of the new procedures. It shows a video so that guests can know what to expect. And if they're not comfortable wearing a mask, then they can decide to come back at a time when we're not requiring that. But wanted to kind of get those few basic things out there so that there were no surprises when guests first showed up.
Yeah,
And
I
just
love that I could go on and kind of see like, oh, they've got the arrows here, and this is where I'll go, and this is the signage. I feel like I've already been there, even though I haven't yet.
yep. And that was an intent. So we're glad that that came through.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, John, of all of the people that I've spoken to, I think you had one of the largest, most complicated problems to tackle across your concerts, your exhibits, your events, your outdoor, your indoor. What a just roller coaster ride I can imagine it's been for you. I appreciate you making space to talk to us today. I'm hopeful that other fund developers and marketers in the nonprofit space can pick up some of the tidbits of wisdom that you've shared. And I'm curious to know if you have any shameless plugs that you might want to bring forth.
I'm always happy to shamelessly plug, all of our social media channels. You can find us by searching Meyer Gardens. Our hashtag is just Meyer Gardens. Website is meyergardens.org. And if anybody has specific questions or would like to reach out to me specifically to continue any conversations, my email address is jvanderhagen@meyergardens.org, and I'd be happy to connect with anybody. So I really appreciate this opportunity to talk through some of the things that we've been learning. We're continuing to learn every day and adjust based on feedback from our guests and members. I'm also looking to other organizations to see what they're doing best practice wise, but really happy to have this conversation.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us, and you're absolutely right. It is continue change all the way. So with that, I hope that you have a great day, John, and guests, thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you very much, Timothy. Great to chat.